Yeah, so this is something that I'm really glad that we're sharing this because I think it's so important. And all of you have talked about the key thing that keeps going back, that keeps coming up is the fact that there's a need for educating young people, getting them involved in this and actively involved. And Claudia, you said in the kids' playground, I think that's very true. If it becomes a normal thing that they engage with, something that is not, they're not going to be teased about and don't have to apologize for. It becomes a new normal then. So I think there is so much to be said about that. We're going to go to Gladys.
I'll introduce myself again very quickly. I am Gladys Chotunjire. I know Jose through Miss Uganda UK. I was once Miss Uganda UK and she mentored me so well. So I'm grateful to God for that. And the reason, what I really want to talk about is I am passionate about children, and I've campaigned about children-related things ever since I finished school. So I have had an idea which is called informal education classes for children, but mainly children in Uganda. And it's something I've worked with the Ministry of Education, and I know how hard it is to even introduce something new in children's syllabuses and how children learn. That being said, I also know that education is one of the most effective tools of introducing change and introducing new ways of doing things in society. So with that background, I still as everyone was talking, I was getting these ideas, and I've always had these ideas that I wanted to incorporate in our primary schools in Uganda. I'm passionate about children because I believe how we shape them will determine how their future will be and how their our grandchildren's future, talking of myself, will be. That being the case, we complain about how things are today, but I believe that those were seeds sown by our predecessors. We want to sow the same seeds, and if not, then we don't have much time to talk about I know that there's a lot of politics to go through before you can introduce a change, but education being key, it has been proved by the United Nations Youth for Human Rights. I am an advocate and part of that group, that education is a very key in making information sink in and bringing new changes. So that being said, I would like to very much encourage. I am one of those people that believe also that the change has to start with us and in our homes. So I'm thinking about televising, how to make certain things, televising or illustrating. I'm not a fashion designer, but I would love, people sometimes were taken back from creating new things because we don't have the how-to guide. So having a how-to guide, a lot of us want to know, how do I do it, and I'll jump on it because then it becomes trendy, and I would like to show it off on the socials that I managed to do this on my own. So I jotted down a couple of things that we can start with this summer, because I believe that I'm one of those people that I'm an action person, and I don't feel the need to talk about it without me trying to apply myself. So I thought for the fashion designers on the platform here today to make a how-to guide, maybe 5 steps that TikTok would be happy to sponsor certain things like that because they want to affiliate themselves with a good cause, where you're showing us how I transform a pair of jeans into, I think they're called dungarees, a skirt that has this thing. I created one for myself. Let me show you quickly. This was a pair of jeans, and I sewed it with my hands because I don't have a sewing machine, but I just put it on like this and tuck it in at the back. But it took me forever to do. But if I had a how-to guide, I have about 3 things. How to make shorts from jeans, because people buy jeans. Shorts are more expensive than jeans, actually. Yet, shorts are a smaller material to jeans, but you can remake those things. But people just need to know, what do I need to do? So a how-to guide, for example, on how to make a 2-piece. We're coming to summer. I'm looking for a 2-piece, and I'm trying to think, how do I make a 2-piece from what I have? Or should I go to ASOS and get one for £20? My conscience is holding me back. My fashion sense is telling me charge for this, or my fashion sense is pushing me to go and do what's easy. But now because of education and awareness and information, is something holding me back, saying it's not worth it. So a how-to guide would be nice for how to make a few things, maybe 5 things, and that would make the campaign reach even further people. I mean, because people would want to show what they've done. The other thing I wanted to say was access to awareness. So I believe that we all do things in our small communities, but I believe, like Stylist UK, which is a magazine that supports women, I think men like to reuse and recycle, but women have the patience to actually put it in practice. So I feel that women would also love to. A lot of women are busy, especially mothers now. They're busy. I would really want to sew something for my daughter. I've been thinking about it for the longest time, but I don't have a how-to guide, because making clothes is glorified now to the fashion designers. They're the ones that know how things need to go. But I feel that you could cascade some of the easy things to do to the public, or to a normal person like myself, and I'll have the pride to make something of. I believe you're sowing seeds for our future, and unfortunately, when we're sowing seeds, sometimes the reward is more internal than material. So with those, for me, I feel like that's where I am stuck. I want to be a champion, and in schools, I would really love to work with José Hendo to make sure that we have maybe a magazine that we give to kids if time is not allowed, but a magazine that we give to kids on how to do a few things in their homes in terms of repairing and remaking. But that being said, in the long run, what I really want to do is to reintroduce informal education in our Ugandan education system for primary school children. And hopefully that would be an idea welcomed here. I don't know how, but I think about Uganda more because that's where I grew up, and I feel that they need that opportunity more. If anything, those are my few. I'll be very grateful to work with anyone who comes up with ideas. I'll be happy to try them out, and I'll be happy to share them with my social media, and I'll be happy to ask other people to come along and try them out. I feel that way we will have our foot in the right direction. Thank you, guys.
Fabulous. I knew you were going to just go in there and dig it all up. Did you read my notes? Because that's exactly the next stage.
Great minds.
Yes, the how-to, because Catherine has got the skills, I have the skills, Isabel has the skills, is to put together something that we can share. Basic things, do you have a needle or thread and a pair of scissors? That's all you need to start with. And a tape measure would help. So these are things that I have built up because I've been doing workshops online with young people from 14 to 19, and I think to 18. And I think being able to I already do this. I already have the how-to in place. Now there's a time to share it. So that was the next thing I was going to say at the end. But you jumped the queue, so that's okay. But we'll talk about that. And I feel a challenge coming on. You just said it there. Transform a pair of jeans. So I think, that is a good one. So thank you, Gladys. I really appreciate your go and get it done. Okay, so we'll go to Rosalind.
I was so excited by what Gladys has said that I didn't. Well, transferring a pair of jeans, I need to step back so that you can see a transformed pair of jeans.
Oh, is that what you're wearing? Oh,
yes,
lovely.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it.
We can see
to lift that, step back.
Oh, no, we can't.
Work. This is
that's it. That's it. We can see that. If you give us a twirl. Oh, that looks fabulous. What are you wearing?
This was a pair of jeans.
Fantastic. That's really good.
It goes down to my hips.
Very flattering, I can see. Oh, lovely. Oh, all those pockets.
Oh.
Fabulous. Thank you.
So, sorry, very unprofessional modelling.
No, that's perfect. It's exactly what we needed.
And underneath, this is Transform men's shirts. A blue striped one and a pink striped one. I used to go to charity shops and buy nice quality cotton soft cotton men's shirts and, combine them. So this is another José Hendo remodeling. And then what I took off and will be putting back on again is a man's jacket.
Oh, I've forgotten that.
Transformed, complete with R3 badge on the pocket.
Fantastic. That's brilliant.
So it's a little bit cold here, so I'm going to put it back on.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Anyway, in terms of what we can do, we can all share today what we've learnt with our immediate family and friends and people that we come into contact with. Following the pandemic, we just don't know how things are going to go. Retail has been hit very severely, and different countries are at different stages with this. So it is an opportunity to introduce new ideas and to support things that we really believe in. And I think this heading towards a circular economy where things aren't wasted, they come back as some other creation is really, really important. And we've been given an opportunity to progress that. But it's just, up to every individual to add their little bit of contribution. Otherwise, we might all carry on the same as we were. I'm very privileged to have actually seen Claudia's exhibition on the fast and slow fashion, and also the one in Berlin, Connecting Afro Futures. And I think that's, the museums are one place where big influences can be progressed. And the idea of doing things in schools, I always think about after school clubs might be a place where, sewing skills and knitting can be reintroduced. Anyway, I don't know that I've got anything more to contribute at this point. Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Roslyn. I really appreciate that. My journey with Roslyn has been very interesting because we come from totally two different backgrounds. There's so much we share in terms of the fact that she grew up in Australia and they had to, like she said, she might not have shared with you, but we've shared this, we've talked about this, the fact that they also had to mend and repair and work with what they had. I grew up in a family of 9 and I wore hand-me-downs and I was third born. So I had 2 older sisters. So, and I would plan for those garments before they got to me as to what I'd do with them. So I started this, and I think Catherine did mention this as well. I started this very early on, before I even thought about doing fashion. I was never patient. For me, it was a very quick fix. Otherwise, I would not get into it. And I didn't think I was going to be a designer. I thought I was going to be an artist. I was going to be painting. I was going to be making sculptures. That's what I thought I was going to be. So to find myself in fashion, even though I loved clothing, and like Winnie was saying, we use clothes to express ourselves, to show who we are and what we are, how you feel, how you dress, the colors, the shapes and things that we wear are important to express ourselves. But then having had that experience with Roslyn, for her seeing my work through other people's engaging, seeing my work, so what she sees, because I'm on the inside, I have no idea how people see it. And to travel with her to all these places where she's been part of, like the fast fashion, slow fashion, I was quite excited about that. And I'll just go back to quickly that, Bella, bear with me. When I met Claudia in Cologne with the fast fashion, slow fashion, it was quite exciting to kind of see how it was presented, because it was so well done and very, very deep. They looked at, looking at it, they looked at everything, and it just engaged everyone who came in there, could see something and know that they've experienced, they know they're learning something, they're taking something on board. And those are some of the things. And I remember at that same place, there were children who were invited to come in. Do you remember, Claudia? There were children there. And it was an important part of the exhibition, the fact that they engaged schools, young people, old people, all the way to university level, to come in and see for themselves and see where they place themselves. I think there were workshops there as well. And I remember before the exhibition itself, I remember that I had to, to do a workshop with some university students. And these university students were very much already there. It was an eco-sign academy, and they were learning about sustainability. It was a huge part, and it wasn't just about fashion, it was about everything. It was making all types of products, all types of things. And I really felt that I was blown away. And I thought, my gosh, when I was doing my degree, my lecturers didn't want to know about, sustainability. They discouraged me. They said to me, what else, what will you do when you start? How are you going to, where will you get the materials to work with? If organic is not available, what will you do? And I said, I'll upcycle. What if that? So that was so important to engage with students who got it and were already in the middle of creating and designing things that were designed in a circular way, that were built to understand what the end result, what they're going to end up as, knowing what's going to happen to them and how people will use them to better their communities. So I think that it's really quite exciting to be able to have had a chance to listen to all of you share with me what your thoughts are on this subject. And now we'll go to Isabella. Brilliant. Isabella, please share with us.
I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Isabella, a female. Yes, I'm watching for like this multi makeup, designer, visual artist. I'm a multi sort of dimensional makeup. Sometimes I'm doing basic design, like what I was trained in, which is architectural design, so interiors, space, and sometimes I'm making garments, but that's more on a self-built basis, out of interest, and sometimes I'm designing for film, film sets, and basically a bunch of things that I'll be doing in the realm of visual arts. It really stems from curiosity, and I guess from a young age, growing up here in Uganda, I guess I was a bit unusual in the sense that where most people are looking at like the idea of a hand-me-down piece of clothing as something like sort of dreadful and maybe like sort of like poor. I more look at it as like I would actually eye some of the things my sister was wearing, waiting for them to come down, to pass down to me, waiting for when the time comes when I'm old enough or like I've grown tall enough to be able to wear that like piece of clothing that she has and rethink it, reshape it to sort of fit me. And so I guess from those like early building blocks, I sort of began to understand, even without knowing that it had like, an actual name, I sort of began to understand the idea of extending the life of whatever it is that we're creating. And I remember like when I was considering like paths to go like sort of take on for as a career, I was really good at art. It never really failed me. It did really well. But I knew that art in itself wasn't as well at that point I didn't understand that it could be as critical as I even then knew I was. And so I found architecture, and then having gone through that gruesome, long process of like learning architecture and building, it sort of prepares you for a dynamic world where you can sort of think quickly and rethink how to work something. And it starts from just like the planning element, but also it goes into so many aspects of life, which is how we make, how we use, how long we use things for. And that's a really big element within architecture. Whenever you're making a building, you're thinking about lasting hundreds and hundreds of years, like we have now the pyramids or any other seven wonders, It's something you can and flock to all over the world to see how these things are still standing up till now. And so knowing and having learned those principles, I was always applying them to whatever scale of work and sort of practicing, which brings me to like what I was talking about, like sharing this panel, which is the idea of reducing, reusing, and recycling, upcycling all these modes of sustainability, which lead to like a more ecological and ethical way of practicing, how can we make that a part of our lifestyle? And so I'm very interested in like systems, and sort of questioning systems, and sort of pushing where these systems, what these systems can do, and how they can sort of engage with more people. And what I realized, especially when you start asking yourself these questions, always it's very, especially when I'm doing my post grad, it was very, there's a point where all designers and thinkers and makers in that class, we reached a point where we're kind of stuck. We realized this issue is really big, and it's very easy for someone to feel too little to like attempt to even address it. And so what they were asking us to do is just find a small way, even one small way, and take that small way and practice it. And once you've done that, you slowly find out that in doing these things, they slowly become a part of who you are. And there you don't feel so overwhelmed by the large issue that you're dealing with. And you feel like you have like a way to sort of act within this huge problem that we have now that we're facing as an international and global community about especially to do with the environment and everything that's happening. So for me, it just came from like three sort of modes that I decided to make part of how I standard modes that I operate in, which is one being intentional. This starts with knowing when to make and knowing when not to make, which is equally as important. And so exactly like I believe it, I don't know who mentioned that we do have a lot already. So there's no need to be making new things all the time. And for me, that was very puzzling when I learned that. I was like, now what I want to create as an artist, as a maker, I'm always thinking of creating. And then I discovered, oh, sometimes making doesn't mean physical making. It also means going to other uncharted territory, which I'm now very excited about and always sort of like engaging with is the digital sphere. And that's what's made things like these forums, like especially when COVID hit, everyone now is becoming part and parcel. All these Zoom meetings and like online forums and platforms, and we're open to them. But they've always been there. Like YouTube, little people are engaging with us all the time. And so when I understand making, I'm thinking now I've added a new sphere, which is the digital sphere. And how I engage with that is through documenting, through film, through making videos about like whatever critical issues I'm sort of doing at the moment. And one of them happens to be artisanal, hand making, thinking about how we make, slowing down how we make, so we can be more critical about what we put into the thing. Another element of how I also practice is thinking about adaptivity. This is almost like a very strong building block on how you can ensure that whatever you're making has almost next to the longest possible life. And that's whenever I'm creating something, whether it's item of clothing or space or even in the digital sphere, how can I make it that it engages and re-engages and brings up even more questions about how we can extend the idea of longevity of both the material aspect of what we're making and where it exists in like sort of the digital sphere. And then another aspect, and the final, which I believe ties in everything I do, is always thinking from a point of resilience. Like if the world was to end, what have I contributed to this world? Whatever it is, can it stand the test of time? And applying this sort of critical thinking to whatever it is that I'm making has really served me well, because not only is it something that already was ingrained in me through all the interactions, and especially one of the best interactions was right here, José Hendo, one of my like biggest like mentors. it also extends to how I sort of can push this idea to everyone else. And that, for me, has been one of the interesting bits of how I work. And I guess I'm looking forward to seeing how this can sort of become like a thing that catches on fire and extends to almost everyone else. And while we're also thinking about pushing things towards the younger generation, getting them involved, I think it's also important to find to know that it's never too late, however old or young, to re-educate and reshape your thinking about what's happening. So we can act now. We can act in the present to be able to affect our futures. It starts with ourselves, most importantly, and it's the simplest of things, you know. Like for me, it's become it's been something like as simple as consciously saying, if I've not carried my shopping bag with me that is that is recyclable, then I'll put everything in my own bag. And I'm walking around in Uganda here because people are so used to, they'll buy everything from the supermarket and always use the unsustainable means, which is like polythene bags or whatever it is that's going to be thrown away or whatever. It always looks weird when I'm telling them, please stop, and I'll put whatever like shopping in my actual bag, and they'll be looking at me like I'm crazy. And for me, when I think about that, I'm just like, imagine if everyone else can think like that. Let's not use what's there that's just quick and convenient, but let's put ourselves through a little bit more. Let's task ourselves a little bit more, so that next time we're prepared. If we're not prepared, let's find a sustainable solution within that sphere. And from simple, repetitive actions like of that sort, I believe we can all get to a place where we're very happy with practicing a life of sustainability. Thank you.
Brilliant. I think that's brilliant, Bella. That's really lovely, the way you kind of presented that. I think what I take from you is with your mindset as an architect, but as an artist as well, and combining all your what makes you in terms of professionally who you are. You bring that to all the designing that you do now. When you think about designing now, you apply all those things that you have learned, and also the fact that you've grown up around sustainability, even though it didn't have a name for it when you were growing up. You've already practiced it. I think it really helps the fact that you're thinking that. And I totally agree with you when it comes to shopping. It's the easiest thing about where we can reuse things. And that's where you think, I have to carry all of this. I carry it in my hands or put it in my handbag, just like you. So so kudos to you. I think that's the simplest thing that we all can do is just take the first step. It's a lifestyle change, lifestyle choice. But it is something that once you start with small things, it grows and it can grow into something quite amazing. I know that from my own experience with my children, I've got to a point now that because I've taught them so well, I can't break the rules around them. They'll remind me, Mom, you said, you said we should do this. So, and they're quite happy. And from my own personal experience, this is me personally. I have done this from when I was little, growing up, I would change skirts into blouses and make, like Gladys was saying, trousers, change them to shorts because I wanted a pair of shorts. So I always did those things. And I didn't have a name for it. It was necessity then. But now it is a huge part of what I do in terms of my work and sharing with other people and trying to turn minds. But my children, my oldest son is many years for my youngest. But I saved his clothing. I saved what I thought was, I didn't think I was going to have another child. When I did, I went through his things that he'd grown out of and I saved them. And men's fashion doesn't change much. So you won't be, nobody will be pointing fingers at you saying that was so last year because nothing much changes. And so my son has grown up and he's wearing his older brother's clothes. So that's a simple way. And because children grow very quickly, in a small space of time, a child can grow 3 inches. So that's gone. So in a year, you're buying clothing. So if you don't, give it to somebody else who can use it or keep it for, your younger children, that's all going to waste. So there's so many ways that all of us can practice these things and we can share with other people. And that's something that I'm quite excited about. I have been sharing with most of you who are here today, have talked about how I have shared with you these things. And I think what Gladys was talking about, I feel like a challenge coming on, but we can talk about that in a minute. But for now, I'm going to open this conversation up to our lovely audience that have been with us from since we started. So if you want to say something or want to ask any questions, this is the best time to do it while I still have the panel members here.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Grace. Sorry, can everybody hear me?
Yes. Hi, Grace. You're welcome.
Hi. Sorry, I didn't know that I had to introduce myself. I just came to listen. But I love all the ideas of what everybody is saying, and if there's any way I can help, I would be more than willing. If there's any way I can help in whatever campaign that you guys will be running, I'll be more than happy to help. I'm very much into what everybody's been doing, upcycling and doing all of this. Sorry, I didn't know I had to introduce myself. I didn't want to be rude. I just wanted to jump in and just say, hi, I'm Grace.
Thank you, Grace. Grace, do you think that this is something relevant? This is something that we need to engage other people with, or young people with? Do you think that it's a relevant subject or something that's here to stay?
No, definitely. It is a very relevant subject. Currently, I've been talking to a few people.
Okay.
But yes, it's a very relevant subject, and I've been thinking about, I've been doing this since I was a child, really. I recycle and I cycle all my clothes. All the work that I'm doing currently with my kind of project, Child Packer, is about redesigning. And I think it's very important that the young people are taught how to make things. It's so unbelievable how many people out there don't even know how to sew a button on their clothes. How they just throw away things. And this is very, very important. And like Gladys was saying, that it's very important that we go out there on social media, on magazines, or any kind of information that you can give people to teach them about this. So yeah, it's a very important subject.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Grace. Thank you for that. Thank you, Grace, for sharing with us your thoughts and offering to kind of share this with other people as well. We're grateful for that. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know that we're time-wise, the panel members, I'm not sure how much more time you have, but if you have maybe 10 minutes to spare, we could hear more of what other people want to say or ask us any questions, and then we'd probably then be finishing off. So I think Philip wants to go next. Please go ahead, Philip. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation and the beautiful contributions. I found it really interesting to listen to the amount of perspectives. I heard so many different country names. I heard Uganda, I heard Ontario, I saw somewhere Maryland. I am based in Germany. And in Germany, I am working for a small organization trying to advocate for sustainability in general. And we do a lot of work with children in schools, teaching them where do our clothes come from, how does cotton look like, what are value chains, where are clothes produced, under what circumstances, how sustainable is that, all this kind of stuff. And I find that really important that our children learn where our clothes or our products in general come from. However, we came to the conclusion that teaching children how all the problems about fast fashion does not really solve the problem, because children usually are not the ones buying clothes. They cannot do anything about it. And teaching children kind of pushes the problem to the next generation. It says we can't solve the problem, so we teach children that there is a problem, hoping that when they are grown-ups they can come up with a solution.
Yes.
So as important as it is to help to educate children on the problems, we still have to try and solve it by ourselves. And that's why I find it of utmost importance to address it politically, because there are so many things you cannot simply do as an individual. It starts with the question, when I stand in a shop and I have the choice between cheap and expensive, it's not always a choice, because my money is not infinite. Yet if I have a t-shirt that I buy for €3, dollars, whatever currency you want to put, every adult knows, and for Germany I can say that people know that you cannot produce a t-shirt from cotton to t-shirt for €3. I mean, how much time is in that? That is not possible. Everyone knows that, yet people don't care. And we as an organization, our political activities are going in two directions. One is what we call a value chain law that forces companies to check for human rights violations through their value chain. I know UK has something similar with the Modern Slavery Act. I know in the US there is the Dodd-Frank Act on minerals, but something in that direction. And the other thing we do is we try to make the government apply these kind of rules to their own procurement. I mean, government's buying a lot of textiles. I mean, every police uniform someone buys or someone has to make. And as much as governments don't want to say that, police uniforms are not produced locally. And I think rather nowhere. So there's political levers where you can address the problem. And another thing we do is we raise awareness for solutions, because we came to notice that for almost every problem there is a solution already. I heard earlier the idea of having sewing guides. These guides exist, but obviously not. The knowledge is not there where to find them, how to get there. I know that there was an idea about an app that can project cutting patterns for different kind of clothes on the clothes. So it's easier to cut them. So we try to give this idea as a platform to spread the knowledge that there are ideas to solve the problem. I think that's enough for now from my side, and I also apologize for having to leave straight away. I have another meeting coming up. These days are extremely busy, even though you're not allowed to leave the house.
Thank you. Thank you, Philip. It's so good to put a face to your name. I believe we'll be meeting again virtually very soon. And thank you for your insight, and thank you for your sharing. I think it's really important that you've raised the subject, the fact that it has to be on a government level, on the level of a political level, changing minds. I think both always have to work. We cannot, if I can't get to the government, I have to do it the way I can, which is access to students and to schools and to the young people around me. So I think in every way, if we can all engage in this effort to kind of raise awareness and make the change and create the change that needs to happen, That's what needs to happen. That's the only way to do it, because I think time is of the essence. And while we try to, we're really grateful that there are organizations like yourselves already engaging in trying to get the governments and the political solutions to this. It's really good to know that. And I think that means that we are a force, and together we can make a very huge difference. Thank you for that. And I think one of the other things that you shared about access to information, I think in places like, I don't know about Novieta in Bali, in Uganda, in Africa, there are issues about access to basic things, like even access to books and things like this, and the internet is not accessible to everyone. So being able to learn from a YouTube channel is not something that people deep in Africa will be able to do, or maybe South America. And yet these are the communities that need to be able to kind of take ownership of what they've always done naturally. But having the tools to work with will empower them even more to be able to achieve what they do. But really appreciate that. And maybe your organization might be able to help get this information out to the people who need it. And that's something that we can talk about, right? But thank you so much. Thank you, Philip. Lovely talking to you and hearing you share with us what you do, and look forward to learning some more from you. Thank you. Thank you, Philip. Thank you. So I don't know if anybody else, somebody else in the panel would like to respond to Philip, please, by all means. Claudia, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think Philip is absolutely right that we need also to put that on the political level. And I think we all have responsibilities. So the producers or the designers have a responsibility, the politicians have a responsibility, but also we have a responsibility. And as a consumer, and I want to put it in a positive sense, that if we decide, for instance, if we are not going any longer to fast fashion shops, I mean, not us, I think we are not going to fast fashion shops, but if we can convince others not to go to fast fashion shops, and it's very simple. If there is no quest for something, so then the companies will stop
producing it. Absolutely.
Yeah, producing it. So this is there are tons of new items put on the market every year. And then only like 10 or 11, if you take a yogurt or whatever, if people don't buy it, they take it away from the market. And I think this is something we should use in a positive way as consumers. So we have a power and we should use this power.
Fantastic.
But of course, it's not only on us, but it's really, we should share this responsibility. And
absolutely. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you, Claudia. That's brilliant. Thank you. Does anybody else want to say something? Yeah, Roslyn. Go ahead, Roslyn.
There's a sort of education based on the word care, which is in our subject today. Yeah. Just within the last couple of days, I've heard on the radio someone advocating more care in how we wash our clothes.
Yes.
Wash less frequently.
Yes.
Use the shortest possible washing cycle. Use washing powder that's plant-based.
Yes.
Don't use fabric conditioner.
Brilliant. Thank you.
So I've always thought that you wash a long time with hot water and not much washing powder.
Yes.
That's been my way of washing, but I'm now thinking maybe I've been doing the wrong thing for a long time. Obviously, the more you tumble the fabrics around, the more wear there is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just using the minimum you need to get them clean. And he was also advocating washing less often.
Yes.
So maybe that's something we can all do as well. Just try this out.
Yeah.
The fabric conditioner apparently coats the fabric.
Yes.
And sort of gets sticky, and then there's all the artificial smells that are included.
Yeah, yeah. I think just adding to what you said, I think being able to get access to an eco-friendly type of washing detergent is a good thing. And like you said, low temperature is really important as well. I think that's a really lovely contribution, Rosalind. I think that's really important. The care is just as important as the decision to repair or upcycle. Because if you care for something and look after it, it lasts longer. So I think those are vital ingredients in elongating the lifespan of a garment. So thank you for that, Rosalind. That's really good. Okay, anybody else want to add to this? Or shall we go to, is it, Michael, did you want to say something else? Or anybody else want to say something, or do we wind up?
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer from Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, hi Jennifer, how are you?
Hi Jose, I'm sorry for being late.
That's okay.
I wanted to respond to Roz. I'll try my best, Roz, to not wash a lot. I just bought a new washing machine after I think the old one was from 1975.
Yes.
So I'm in a relationship with my washing machine right now. So I will try my best not to wash clothes all weekend. And I just want to say one thing. I am addicted to thrift stores. So I love getting, like artwork, and I have an extensive jewelry collection. So that's one of the parts I do is to recycle and reuse, is to get jewelry. And then when I was in Uganda, I love the way that there's a lot of recycling going on with the paper and they make the earrings and the jewelry with that. Because in America, I mean, we are awful at recycling. We get a plastic bag at the store, you use it for 1 second, and then it just goes in the trash. So I love to be able to reduce and recycle as much as I can.
Brilliant. That is great. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for making it today. I think it's really lovely that you kind of have owned up to that love of your washing machine, but we'll forgive you.
Thank you.
Not too much washing. I think that on the subject of washing, extreme washing, I think that's something that I learned to tell my children, that if you have trousers, you wear them, unless they're totally soiled, you wear them again. If you're wearing them at home, wear things as long as you can, unless it's really, really soiled and you have to wash it. And they've seen from my example that I never wash things unless I really have to, or eco dry clean unless I really have to. So one of my favorite pieces that I'm wearing today is I have reworn for so many years, and I'm sure some of you know this piece so well. Claudia, you know this. Isabella, you know this. So this is one of the pieces that I wear all the time, and I can dress it up or dress it down, and I don't have to dry clean it, eco dry clean every time I wear it. So it's one of those pieces that I don't apologize. I think people know, because I stand for what I stand for, that I actually rewear things, and it's okay. If I show up and see you this twice in a month wearing the same thing, I'm not apologizing because that's what I felt like that day, and that's what I'm wearing. So and even though I make clothes, I'm not always designing new clothes for myself. I also go into my wardrobe and I upcycle. If my jeans don't fit me anymore because I've gone up 2 sizes, I take the 2 pairs of jeans and make 1 coat. And so this is what I do. And obviously, then that also goes down to washing and caring. So all these things all come together. And one of the things I really wanted to clarify today, a lot of people think that when you recycle, it's like upcycling. No, it isn't. To recycle is breaking down something and breaking it down into a totally new raw material and then working with it again. But to upcycle is adding value to something and changing what it was before and making it work better or work longer. So those are the two different things that I needed to clarify there. So caring, very important. Upcycling, recycling, very vital. And I think the reuse thing, one of the things I asked, unless somebody's putting their hand up and wants to say something, I'll just quickly short. Do you know which dress I'm wearing today? So I have a reuse, I have a recycle, and I have a reduce. What do you think I'm wearing today? Anybody guess? Okay, so what I'm wearing today is reuse. So that's the one I'm wearing today. And why? Because I think one of the key things, reduce is for me the most powerful because it underpins everything. All the regeneration, reupholster, upcycle, recycle, all of those words are underpinned by the word reduce. We recycle to reduce waste. We recycle to save the environment. All those things are done because reduce is what is guiding us to do this. So reduce is one of the garments that I wear so much. But the reuse thing, I think today is really important because it kind of underpins what we're talking about today, to care, rewear, repair, and just think about all those things when you are doing the normal things you do in your home. And I think to encourage other people to do the same is really important. But yeah, so anybody else wants to say something? That's me. Yeah, Catherine, please.
Yeah, just really quickly, just listening to everybody's responses, and it's something that it was just sort of percolating throughout, just the overall experience from today. And I think that something that's really important is there does need to be a very interdisciplinary understanding and approach to the solutions that need to be created. And as I've already indicated, the 4 pillars for today are ingredients. So if there's a possibility to create a framework, because we do need to address, the issues politically, and there does need to be laws, and it's going to be different for every country. It's not going to be universal. And I think hearing all the other things is that, around the issues around sustainability and really getting the message and awareness out there is that we're trying to find almost like I'm not saying we specifically collectively today, but just that there's this idea that we need to find a one size fits all solution to activate. And unfortunately, I don't think that's realistic whatsoever. I think every culture, every environment, everybody's going to have different accessibility needs, and every geography is very, very quite different. So if there's a possibility to create an ingredient list that's adaptable, because to me, sustainability is about being adaptable throughout the process. So if we can find a way to create adaptability with an ingredient list, so let's say it's got 10 ingredients, I'm just throwing this out there, and those 10 ingredients, that's in the list, but however you pick and choose and you use whatever ingredients that you have access to, and you motivate it and activate it in your community. And if that's through educating children, if that's just through educating your neighbors, or however, and it's true, that's how we can also motivate the conversation around care too. Within that, it can be very much interwoven. So I just want to say that to me, it's about an interdisciplinary approach, but it's also about adaptability and using that as the the 2 lights moving forward. So
Thank you, Catherine. I think that's really important what you just said there. To have an ingredient list and also make it as basic as possible and easily adaptable to different societies, different communities, and different age groups. I think that's the key, right? So thank you for that. I think that's a good place to kind of push this forward. And so I'm going to be having one with you, Catherine, to come up with an ingredient list that
Sure.
we can share with everyone. Okay, so anybody else want to say something, or do we finish up here? I know we've gone way beyond what my expectations were, but I'm so grateful that you're all still here and quite willing to be, did you want to say something, Claudia? No? Okay. So I'm going to ask if anybody else wants to ask. I know you've written in the questions in there, but I cannot go into them now because of the time. So I will respond to all the questions, and I promise I will, if they're specific to any of the panelists, I will send them to them, and I will respond to you if you've asked a question that we haven't dealt with. If you do want to say something, now is the time. Otherwise, I'm going to have to thank you all. And anybody else want to say something? No. Okay. So I'm really, really grateful that we've had a chance to kind of open up this conversation that is so, so important, and finding ways to share this to a wider audience. I think it's really, really important. And I'm grateful that you've given me a chance to kind of share your thoughts and your opinions, which I will very soon on YouTube, but I will also come back to you on a one-to-one, and we can talk some more about this in a much more in-depth manner. But for now, I am really grateful. Thank you all for your time, and I would say to anybody, unless you want to stay and talk to me directly, I'll ask our lovely members of the audience who came in to share with us. Thank you all for being here with us until, and it's quite more than 2 hours. But thank you for coming through and being with us. I really appreciate you, and I've seen you all. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, José.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you, José.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank
Dr.
you.
I want to thank you, Catherine. I
Yeah.
want to thank you, Catherine Sauce. I want to thank you, Gladys. I want to thank you,
Claudia.
And thank you, Marilyn. Marilyn Wilson. I want to thank you, Winnie. Thank you, Norita from Bali. Thank you so much. And Rosalind Johnson, thank you so much. Thank you all.
Can I just say, Claudia's top is fantastic.
It is, isn't it? I love the colour on you, Claudia. It's beautiful.
Especially like the under.
Yes, that's a lovely. Hello.
It's British, by the way. It's British.
And I really appreciated you talking about the texture of the fabric.
Yeah. Next time we are meeting, I will wear it, and you can feel it. So
I love it.
You can't see it now, but it's really special.
Love it. It's really lovely. Lovely to see that. Thank you. Thank you all. I really appreciate your time and your contribution to this. But yeah, exciting. I hope this is
Thank you. Bye. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.